guess I know where that one.
Okay, coming back together. We all right, so we were to use the purple rod to represent 1 quart. So I need to know how you represented 3 1/2 quarts. I know that's Mary Lou. Brianna. Okay, Brianna, how did y'all represent 3 1/2 quarts?
Okay, we took 3 purple banana
Okay,
and 1 red
okay.
banana to represent
A half of what?
of the a half quart of punch.
Okay. So why did you use the red when we were using the purple for a quart?
Because this represented half of this.
Okay, what's the length of that one?
It's 4.
Did you hear what 3 people just said? What's this?
Oh yeah.
Your sentence was this represented this, and you were doing exactly what Jim was doing. You were the first time.
Yeah.
You were holding it up and expecting us to know. So what is the length of that purple rod?
So 4 units.
Okay. So then what did you use to represent the 1/2?
2 units.
Good, which in this case you used the red.
Red.
Okay, great. So that's one recipe of punch, right? A purple and a red, one recipe of punch. So what did you use to represent 2 1/2 recipes? Okay? Who have I not ever called one? I know I've got Amanda. I don't want to. Great. She's used these before. Kim, I've picked them twice already.
Ashley B.
Candace. Oh yeah, Ashley B. I already said Candace. We'll get Ashley next time. So the question is, she made 2 1/2 recipes of punch. So how did y'all represent that?
Okay, so we know that one recipe is represented by 3 of the purple rods and 1 of the red.
Good.
So we we made 2 sets of recipes.
Okay.
And then there was 1/2 of the recipe. Okay, so,
Hang on a minute. In your 2 sets of the recipe, what rods did you use?
okay, so for 2 of the recipes, we had a total of 6 purple rods and 2 red rods.
Okay, great.
And then for half of the recipe, I'm walking back through my thinking.
Okay. Now notice I'm standing here watching her, so I know exactly what she's doing. The people back there aren't watching her. So she has to verbalize all of this for you to hear. Okay? She has to verbalize it.
Okay, so I'm thinking it through, so hold on one second. Okay.
Tell them what you did.
Okay, so what I did was I made another whole recipe, but this time I used a total of 6 of the red rods
Why?
because I know that 2 of the red rods will represent a purple rod.
Okay.
And then for the half of the 3 1/2 quarts, I originally had 1 red rod, but I exchanged it for 2 of the white rods. Because I had to have the recipe.
Okay. So why did you use 2 instead of the 1 red? or why did you use 2 to represent the 1 red is a better question.
Because now I know that to get that half recipe, I can cut all of that in half.
Cut all of what in half?
Cut all of this,
She's
3
holding it
1/2
up for you to
quarts.
look, okay?
I can cut this in half easily.
And what is that representing?
One recipe of 3 1/2 quart
Okay.
punch. So then I took half of it,
Half of what?
half of the whole, of the 3 1/2 quart recipe away.
Tell them what you physically did.
So the 6 red rods, I had them in, 1 quart, 2 quarts, 3 quarts, and then a 1/2 quart. And so if I take half of this away, half of this 3 1/2 quart recipe away. Thank you. I end up with 3 of the red rods and a white
Okay.
white rod. And then I can make,
Okay, so let's refresh where we are now.
okay,
So she has her 3 quarts represented with 3 purples and a red. Okay? So now we're trying to find, and then she has 2 sets of the 3 purples and the red. She now has 6 purples and 2 reds. So she's trying to find 1/2 of the 3 and 1/2. And so you got what?
so now I have 1 and 3 quarts of punch,
Okay. You have 1 and 3 quarts.
or 1 3/4 quarts of punch,
Okay.
sorry.
1 3/4 of a quart would be half of 3 and 1/2. So what are we actually doing here? Are we actually dividing fractions with manipulatives?
Yes.
And you understood it? Whether you knew you were dividing or not? You knew how to get it? Okay, hang on, Rochelle. So now your total final answer?
8 3/4 quarts of punch.
Okay, 8 3/4 quarts of punch. All right, so Quentin, did your group give 8 3/4 quarts? Yes. You did? Okay, Melissa, did you get that?
Yes, ma'am.
You did, very good. Kim?
I hadn't finished yet.
Okay. Brendan, have you finished? Okay.
Let me clarify, she was cheating and doing it algorithmically. And then try to do it with squeezing her eyes.
And I have seen several of y'all doing that, the new ones, okay, the new participants, I've seen several of you try to do that. Do not do that. You want to see this little Indian go wild? I'll go wild on you, yes ma'am.
I checked myself afterwards,
And that's perfect.
but I did this first, and then I checked myself to make sure I was right.
And that's okay because you're just learning right now. But later you will not have to check yourself. But I did see several of you with your little pencil, going and doing it algorithmically. Don't do that in here, please, okay? Promise? Kim, you promise?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you promise? I asked Brandon, I saw his work, I saw him writing it out, and I said, Brandon, what are you doing here? You're doing this algorithmically. He said, that's what I do. Rochelle.
I think for the dividing part, when we had, I had to work with second graders for this last year, so I'm, show them where they can see it. When we had the purple rod,
Yes,
it's almost like physically cutting each of those 3 purple rods in half.
yes.
I'm not sure if that's what Candace, I believe, said she did, to
She
me,
actually did.
listening, it looked like she just did like the 3 halves and did something else other than that.
And thank you for mentioning that, because I could see what she did, and she had her purple rod represented with the 2 red, and she physically took 1/2 of each of the
Oh, okay,
purple
okay.
off. Now, she didn't explain it that way yet.
Okay, so that hearing, that
Yeah.
didn't, like, well, that's not how I did it.
Yeah, so that verbalization skills that we want the kids to get, okay, we've got to work on those. Okay, you have to physically tell everything you physically did. I took that 2 reds that represent the purple and took off 1/2 of each one. Yes, ma'am?
It would be easier if you had it on the Elmo.
It would be easier on the Elmo. We don't have an Elmo.
Oh, we have one back here though.
Don't need it because we're practicing our verbal skills.
But we have it when you want it.
Available upon your request.
But it would be, if you had the Elmo in a classroom, you could have a student come up here and model that up here. But I would still want them to verbalize
Well, yeah.
every single step that they did. Okay? Questions so far? Did anybody not get, what was the answer? 8 3/4. Did anybody not get 8 3/4 quart? Okay, I want to mention one thing. When she's a science person, and she was telling me she got 8 3/4. I knew what she meant, right? But since we're talking about quarts here and quarters, she might want to have that conversation of where that word quarters come from. You notice every time I repeated after her, I used 3/4. I did not say 3/4. So that's a conversation you'd have to have with your kids. Sandra, your hand was up?
I did. I'm sorry, I was multitasking, so I wasn't completely paying attention. Did they write it out in words was my question.
Not yet.
Okay, not yet, thank you.
Not yet. So, since she's mentioned that, the next step would be to have your students write a sentence, a complete sentence, about your solution, maybe several sentences, about your solution and your process, okay? But never fear, because we have another problem. Oops, that's the same one. Another problem that we're going to solve, and I want the people who are the weakest, who have not seen Cuisinart rods, to do this one, and then I'm gonna choose one of y'all to verbally describe what you did. I'll read it to you. The punch recipe that Jonathan Mother uses is shown below. 1 1/2 quarts of ginger ale, 2 quarts, it's kind of hard to see, 2 quarts of lime sherbet, 3/4 quart of pineapple juice, she mixes it together. If she triples this recipe, will the punch fit in her 12-quart punch bowl?